Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Amy Nicholas, your entrepreneur mindset strategist. Wanted to do something a little different today, and hopefully a bunch of you guys will jump on live because I wanted to do like a Q&A and just basically talk about what does it look like. And this is going to be different for everybody, but I'll tell you how I've come along the journey of entrepreneurship. And what does it look like to be successful, happy, and fulfilled as an entrepreneur? Because I feel like a lot of people, myself included, got stuck at the old, part of being an entrepreneur where it was like, oh, I got to be successful. And they were going off of other people's, opinion on what success was and never actually defined it for themselves. So that's kind of my goal, is just to kind of give you some clarity, give you some tips, some strategies on arriving at a place where you feel like, hey, I am successful. I am fulfilled. I am happy. All those things can be true. You don't have to work like a dog. I think that's one of the biggest beliefs that I overcame within the last few years. In fact, in 2020, that was like my big mindset shift year where I finally put systems in place and I got really clear about what does it look like to be doing what I want to do and not doing what I don't want to do, because I never really answered those questions prior, or I felt like that, there was something wrong with me for not wanting to work on certain things. And I was like, no, it doesn't have to be this way. And so I started to believe differently. And sure enough, last year, like I doubled my income and also worked a heck of a lot less. Okay. I'm just checking the groups here to make sure. I'm using StreamYard here, and I just want to make sure that they actually post the videos for me where I want them to go, because just making sure we are live wherever I said it would be. Actually, StreamYard's a pretty cool thing if you're into doing live streams, because they will allow you to post up to 3 different places with the like really basic plan, which is what I'm on. So it's pretty cool. You can put Facebook groups, pages, your profile, and YouTube all at the same time, which is pretty awesome. So diving into what I think it looks like, for me, success. Okay, let's just talk about what is success as an entrepreneur. What does that even mean? First of all, you have to figure out what it means for you, okay? It's not what does it look like for Joe Schmo making, 5 million a year or whatever, or Billy Bo Bob over here making 6 figures a year, or, somebody who's just making enough to pay their bills. You have to pick what does it look like for you. And I heard something really powerful, and I heard it again recently. And I was like, you know what? I really like this definition because it's not dependent upon money. Okay, so a mentor of mine, he said that he decided a long time ago, before he made millions, that he was going to consider himself successful without thinking about money, without thinking about how many customers he had or how many products he had sold. He only had the definition of, if I wake up, I'm awake, I'm alive, right? If I can get out of bed, and if I am happy and I'm enjoying what I do. That was basically it. And he was like, if all of those things are true, and healthy. If all of those things are true, then today's a successful day. Okay. So he said healthy. He was awake, he was alive, he could get out of bed. And he was looking forward to what he was going to be doing. Like he was doing what he wanted to do. That's what he considered himself to be a success for. And I think that's a great place to start. That doesn't have to be your definition, but I would really encourage you to put the money aside and don't entrap yourself by feeling like, oh my gosh, last month, I made this amount and I was feeling great about myself, and things were kicking and I was feeling really good. And then this month it's in the hole, and then you start to take it personally. You start to basically tear yourself down because you're like, well, there must be something wrong with me because I'm not making the same amount of money as I did last month. So there's a problem with me, and you start to berate yourself and bring your self-confidence down. And it's a vicious cycle as entrepreneurs. And I know I'm not the only one who has been through that. And I still have to work on that sometimes, just like staying focused on what am I doing? What is my definition of success? Is it true for me today? And I really like the definition that, like I said, my mentor had, where I got out of bed, I'm healthy, I'm doing what I want to do, I'm a success, right? All those things put together, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm on the right track, and you could even put it into a bigger perspective that, hey, okay, maybe my sales went down, maybe my income's down a little bit. Maybe things aren't working exactly. Sorry, there's like a bug in here. Things aren't working exactly how I want them to work, but I'm not sleeping under a bridge, right? When you put things into perspective sometimes and you realize how good you really have it and how grateful you should be every day, you can really shift your situation around very quickly. I remember feeling like this, over the years, just as an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur full time for 5.5 years, going on 6 years this summer. And there's definitely been times where I look at the stats and try to define that as my success point. But in the last couple of years, I said, you know what? I'm not going to define myself by income, money, and sales. I'm going to be doing what I want to do. Okay. So moving into sort of that next phase of it is, are you getting fulfillment and are you happy doing what you're doing? And I know for myself, it was years of figuring things out, okay, what do I want to do? Like, this thing is making me money, but is it the thing I want to do long term? Is it the thing I'm really in love with doing? And a lot of the times the answer was no. So last year and the year before, 2019, 2020, I just started cutting things out. I was like, this has got to go because I'm not happy doing this. And that's got to go. And that's got to go. And some things I outsourced, running my print on demand businesses. I outsourced a ton of that stuff because, I was even dealing with like health things. Like, for example, when uploading to Merch by Amazon, I would feel like hand cramps, in my wrists. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. Like, I should not have to physically feel bad because I'm doing something that I think I have to do in order to bring in the money, right? And so last year, at some point, I made a decision to just stop. It's like, I'm just not going to do it anymore. Eventually, I may have my VA uploading for me and just have her doing that when they open the doors to access for that, probably. But right now, I'm at peace. I don't have to do it. And you know what? I'm still making sales. I've got AMS ads running. I'm still making sales on merch. In fact, it's been very consistent. And I was like telling myself this story, and maybe you've been there, comment in chat if you've been there before, where you're telling yourself this story of, well, I have to do X, Y, Z because this is going to make the money, right? And if I don't do X, Y, Z, then I don't bring in the money. And I was telling myself that story over and over and over. But the new story I should have replaced it with way before I got to that point was, there's a ton of different ways to make money. There's a lot of opportunities out there. Money is abundant, and there's a lot of people that need help with things, or maybe I could teach something. Maybe I could do something for somebody that they don't want to do. And when I start to open my mind to other possibilities was when I realized that, hey, I can cut this out of my life and I can feel happier and I can feel more at peace and my wrists won't hurt anymore. So if that's you and you're looking at what you're doing on a daily basis and you're like, you know what? I'm doing a lot of things that I think I have to do. That's where you know that there needs to be a shift in what you're doing. If you are doing things that you feel like you have to do, and you can sense this like inner resistance to that. Inwardly, you're like, gotta do it. Okay, no big deal, but I gotta do this. actually, it's a sign that you're probably doing the wrong things in your business. Or you could be doing the wrong business altogether. Been there, done that. Like, I'll give you another example. So years ago, back in like 2016, a little bit into 2017, I was publishing ebooks on Amazon, like the regular Kindle Direct publishing, not the print part. But I was publishing for, I started doing nonfiction ebooks, and then I moved into doing romance books, like fiction. And I didn't write these. I hired a ghostwriter, multiple ghostwriters, in fact. And I scaled that, and I was running Facebook ads, because this was way before AMS ads. And, just rocking and rolling with it. And I was happy in the sense of I was building something, and I found a system that worked, and then I got to a point where I was able to teach other people, and I really enjoyed the teaching part. And then, things changed over there, and how we were paid, and how you could publish the book a certain way. And and this was after multiple changes and things I had gone through. And I started to question if I wanted to adapt and go with the flow again, which is great, or do I want to seek something else out? Do I want to find a new business that I would really enjoy doing? And so that actually answered the question for me, because I wasn't writing these books. I wasn't passionate about ebook publishing itself. I was passionate about the business aspects of it. But doing the ebook publishing itself, I was kind of like, meh. So I knew that it was time to move on to something else. And I got into doing print on demand and a Shopify store. Now, that was a whole other journey. But at least I took steps in the direction of, let me try something new. I basically could feel like a sense of burden lifted, because I allow myself to shift gears and do something new. And thankfully, I had, built up business savings from doing the ebook publishing. So I had money to invest into this new business. That definitely helps, if you're in that situation. If you don't have a lot of money to invest and you want to start a new business, do whatever you can to minimize expenses. But I do seriously recommend hiring somebody that knows what they're doing when you get into that new business. I hired a coach for Shopify, and he taught me tons of stuff about Shopify, Facebook ads, looking for design ideas, all that. It was like my foundation for learning print on demand, which got me into Merch by Amazon, KDP, CreateSpace, all that good stuff. So definitely recommend, if you shift gears, to hire somebody out that knows what the heck they're doing and they're talking about. It's very challenging to learn something new and jump into a different business venture if you are just gathering free information. I've made this mistake before too, thinking like, okay, well, I'm just going to go on YouTube, I'm going to watch a bunch of videos, I'm going to watch a bunch of free stuff, I'm going to download this free thing, that free thing, free content, free webinars, whatever, okay? The challenge with that is, number one, it takes a really long time to put the pieces together. You're getting snippets of what works. You're getting this like hodgepodge mishmash of ideas and try this strategy. No, try this one now. By the time you start to figure things out, things are changing. So that's why I say, get a coach, get a mentor, shortcut the process, because it's just going to be easier for you in the long run. If you don't go that route and you do try to do all the free stuff, you might find out you get burnt out pretty quick. You're going to try a lot of things, you're going to fail a lot of things, and you're going to be like, okay, what's wrong with me? Why isn't this working? I'm doing what they said in the videos. But keep in mind that a lot of times when people are posting content that's free, you're getting what you pay for, right? Now, not to say there isn't a ton of free, awesome, valuable content, super valuable out there. But some people do withhold the juicy, like, inner secrets. And rightfully so, because again, you get what you pay for. So if you pay for something and you invest in yourself, number one, you're taken seriously. Number two, you internally will be like, okay, I paid for this. I'm going to make it work. That's it, period. There's no like stepping back, like, oh, I tried this free thing, but it didn't really work. So I'm going to go over here and try this thing. And then I'm going to go over to this guy's channel. And you're just all over the place. And at the end of it all, you're just totally confused and lost in the sauce because you're trying to follow all these different people. So lessons learned as an entrepreneur. The other side of all of this, and what most people miss the mark on, thank God I found Bob Procter early on in my entrepreneur journey. I'm going to just talk about him for a second. So let me think back here. 2015, I was already a full-time entrepreneur, and this was like October. I'd been a full-time entrepreneur maybe like 6 months. And I had heard of Bob Procter. I'd watched a few of his videos online, and I was kind of like, yeah, he's cool, whatever, you know, law of attraction, The Secret, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, I thought it was really cool that he was doing a live stream of his seminar that was taking place in, I think it was in LA. And I was like, well, I'm in Florida. That would be awesome. I don't have to go anywhere. So I signed up for his live stream. You know, it was like $147. And it literally changed my life. Literally. The ideas that he presented, the mindset shifts that I had from watching this. It was a 3-day live stream event. And I think at the time they also let you watch replays of each day. But I was there. I was like taking notes. I was there fully present every single day. And we're talking like 10-hour days, by the way. And I just really got so much from that live stream. And it literally shifted things in my business within a month. And my income shot up. I started to do better. I started to feel better. I was breaking like health goals and fitness goals. And I was just like, whoa, you know, this guy really got to me like in here. And, you know, you just never know who's going to do that for you. Okay. Like personally, I do consider myself like a motivating entrepreneurial speaker, you know, whatever you want to call me, because I like to light the fire inside of people. It's there. You might feel sometimes that, you know, oh, you know, I'm just going along. I'm doing what I'm doing. But I'm here to tell you that you're awesome and you're amazing. And it is your freaking duty to be a success. Okay. It's your duty to show the world your products, your services, yourself, whatever it is you're putting out there. Okay. It is your duty. So you can let all this noise, distraction, shiny object syndrome get in the way, or you can buckle down and focus. All right. So he helped me with all of that and really just shifted things mentally for me about earning money. And I loved that he shared some really powerful quotes. And one of them was from Steve Jobs. And he said something to the effect of, every morning I wake up and I look in the mirror and I ask myself, what I'm going to do today. Is it something that I want to do? And I'm paraphrasing his quote here, but he asked himself that every morning. And he said, if the answer is no, too many days in a row, I know something has to change. And I got chills listening to that because I was like, that's really powerful. You know, if you're doing something and realize his life was short, right? Steve Jobs, his life was pretty short, but he made a tremendous impact on the world. To this day, we are obviously still using, you know, his gadgets, and super amazing that he would ask himself that, because in turn, he made himself a life that he truly loved doing what he did. So I encourage you, you know, maybe you don't have to do it every day, but start to ask yourself, maybe on a weekly basis, like, am I doing what I want to do today, this week? You know, and really start to question and realize that life is freaking short, y'all. Like, I mean, you don't know when your time's coming. Nobody does. So why waste it? And secondly, why go through all the crap, all the risk, all the stress, all the frustration, all the worry, all the doubts to quit your job and do something in the entrepreneurial space that you don't want to do? Because why would you have left and put in all that struggle and sacrifice to leave your job only to put yourself into another job you don't like to do. Okay. I had to ask myself that not that long ago, a couple years, last year, even beginning of last year. And, it's like, it was like a light bulb went on. Like, yeah, why did I go through all that? Why am I not doing what I want to do? Because you fall into that trap of thinking that, well, if I do this thing online, this business, then, things are pretty secure. Things are pretty safe. I can expect what I can expect each month and kind of know what I'm going to make and, kind of got some security going on. That's BS, y'all. I know, because things shifted like overnight for me in several businesses. And you have to just be like, I'm rolling with the punches. I'm going to go a different way. Something falls in front of you, you scale that wall, right? Or you go around it. Whatever you got to do, you do. Because you realize it's up to you at that point. You don't have the security and the comfort of a job. So what I'm telling you is look at what you're doing and ask yourself if you're fulfilled doing it. And I'm talking like day to day. I said weekly, but really I think this is something you should ask day to day. Because over a week's time, you might forget how you felt on Monday. And if you dread Mondays and you are like, yeah, it's Monday, whatever, then you know you got to change something. You're doing something that you don't enjoy doing. You're like, hey, this has got to stop. I'm just not having a good time here, right? Say hello if you guys are watching live. Leave a like on it. I'm just getting started. I'm on a whirlwind here right now. Do what you freaking love to do. And I'm going to take this a step further and say something contrary to what 90% of the gurus out there doing, online businesses are going to tell you. When I say do what you love to do, I don't just mean in business. Like, why spend all your time doing stuff in the business that you think you have to do? And you're like, oh, well, I have these hobbies and I have these things I like to do when I have free time, right? Devote more time to that than you are right now. Yeah, seriously. If you love to garden, if you love to paint, if you love to travel, if you love to do photography, hang out with your kids, your grandkids, whatever it is, do more of that. Why would I say that? Because when you're doing things that you love to do, you are creating an energy, a vibration of peace, happiness, fulfillment, okay? And when you do go to do things in the business, actual working things, you're going to just feel so much better. You're going to have clarity. You're going to have peace. You're going to be like, you know what? I got this. Whatever it is you're dealing with, challenges, struggle, whatever, you're starting something new, you're stuck in a rut, whatever it is, when you take time to do the things that you love, and then you come back into doing, the worky things, it's just going to go so much easier for you. There's like a whole flow to it. And I know this because I remember when I was trying to quit my job, this was several years back, like 2014-ish. And I thought to myself, okay, Amy, you spend a lot of time in the morning doing this morning routine, because that's what I thought, I'm hearing all these people that are successful talk about doing morning routine, meditation, journaling, reading, going for a walk. So I told myself that, I really should cut out some of that stuff. And I need to spend more time on working on my business in the morning, because then I got to go to regular work and, I need to get stuff done. So I cut out a lot of stuff. And a week or two later, I'm just feeling really bad, really down on myself. And I talked to a friend who was already a full-time entrepreneur. And she was like, well, are you still doing your morning routine? And I was like, well, I kind of cut it short these days, might do a quick read, a quick Bible study or something. And then I'm back to work. And she's like, you really should go back into your morning routine. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah, I think you're going to feel better and you're going to do better. I was like, all right, hey, you're already an entrepreneur. I'm trying to be one. I'm going to listen. She seemed really happy. She was making good money. And she was doing what I wanted to do, which at the time was publishing on publishing ebooks on KDP. And so I took her advice and, started implementing the morning routine again for, the next week. And sure enough, I felt better. And right away, my sales got better. And I just, had ideas in my business. I had clarity. And I was like, go figure that I would spend less time doing the worky stuff. I'm just going to call it that. That's my trademark now, by the way, the worky stuff. And I would spend more time working on me, doing meditation, journaling, prayer time, walking, all those things I had in my morning routine, and things would go better for me. Like, it kind of blew my mind because I didn't really understand the science behind that. But years later now, I'm looking back and I understand it very clearly because I've studied law of attraction. I've studied law of vibration. There's a bunch of universal laws out there. I've been to a lot of people's seminars that can really break down this stuff into tangible, practical usage of these principles. And what I basically can share with you is it's all about your energy. You can do a lot of things. You can work really hard. You can do a lot of things in your business, or you can practice this or that methodology. But if your energy isn't in alignment with what you're doing, it's kind of like totally futile. Like, there's no point because you're not in alignment with it. Yeah, energy attracts, y'all. So putting this into practical usage, if you want to do better in your business, okay, you want to bring in some more sales, you want to bring in some more profit, you have to get on the same energy level as that, right? So what does that look like? Well, let's say today you make a couple of sales online. You're like, oh, I was hoping for more. It's just another same old, right? You're looking at what your current reality is. And you kind of are just sort of like, begrudging about what progress or, what happened today. Well, basically that's like telling the universe that, number one, you're not appreciative. Number two, you are not on a vibration of energy that can raise you beyond that. So if you're thinking about what you got right now going on and you're like, it's not really good enough, you're not going to go to another level because you're not even grateful and thankful for where you are. Therefore, you cannot move beyond that. This is like a really powerful concept. And I can tell you an exact story of how I put this into practice. So right before I was, wanting to quit my job, I was maybe 8 months into this decision, like I'm going to quit. And I hit a wall. And it was kind of around the time I was sharing the story with you about the, cutting out the morning routine. It was kind of around that time. And I remember just feeling really frustrated. I was like, man, I'm putting in the work. I'm doing the stuff. I'm building this ebook business. And I'm not making progress. I'm at this level and I'm not going forward. Like, what's the deal? I had basically kind of just felt like I'd hit a wall. And I looked at the day job I was doing and it wasn't bad, but I didn't love it, right? So I started to kind of think of it in a negative light. I was like, man, I gotta go to work. I gotta go do this thing again. Monday, oh gosh. And, I remember my whole energy was just like caught up in this, like feeling stuck, feeling frustrated. And I listened to a lot of personal development. I was in my car a lot for the job. So I got to play a lot of audiobooks and podcasts and things like that. And I heard some powerful stuff. And in fact, I remember reading The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. Really awesome, short little book. And he basically put this in a nutshell very distinctly. He said, you cannot move beyond where you are until you are doing like all that you can do in your current place, in your current position, and that you're grateful for what you have and what's going on. And I was like, So I kind of, I knew when I read that and I heard it from other people, I was like, dang it. So I got to be grateful for this dang job that I have, and I got to do more in the job. And I really don't want to work any harder than I'm already working. But I chose to take on this attitude that others were telling me. And I said, all right, so tomorrow I'm waking up. I'm thankful I have a job. I'm thankful I have income coming in. I'm thankful that I could take some of that money to pay my bills, but also to put into my online business. I'm thankful that it's growing my path, to entrepreneurship. I'm able to invest right into this. And I started to just be thankful of all the little things associated with the job. I had a company car. I could take it wherever I wanted. I got it, and so there was all these little things. Once I got grateful for like one thing, I started to think of all the other things that were positive. I was like, well, I kind of have, quote unquote security. I don't have to like worry that I'm not going to have a check coming in every 2 weeks. And I just started to focus on that more and more and more. And slowly but surely, within a week or two, I started to feel better about my situation. And I decided that I was still going to, give it my all. Like, yeah, I didn't love what I was doing full time. It wasn't terrible. I knew what I was doing, but I didn't love it. So I was like, well, let me just give my best effort. And I kind of focused my attention and my energy on the customer, because I would write estimates for auto repairs, and I would oftentimes go to the customer's house and talk to them in person. And so I just started to, do whatever I could to help the customer. They're the person that's most affected in this job. And so I just, went out of my way, whether they were an insured or a claimant. I just made sure that I was giving attention, to whatever they needed, answering questions, figuring it out if I didn't know. And like literally, it was probably 6 weeks later, 6 weeks to 2 months later, quit the job. Boom, done. My income just like shot up. And I remember I was like, dang, here I was kind of hitting this wall, thinking I was stuck, didn't know where to go, getting frustrated. I want to quit. And once I sort of like let that go, let that bad feeling, that negative energy go, and I said, I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to put in my best effort, and I'm going to outgrow, where I am. Then things shifted. And that's why I say it's all about the energy you're bringing to the table here. That's why you see some people doing the exact same thing, right? Some people publishing, low content books on KDP, some people publishing merch by Amazon, whatever it is. And they're doing the exact same things you're doing, right? But their results are like way over here. And you're like, what the heck's wrong with me? I'm way down here, right? I'm stuck. And I just encourage you to look at what you're doing, get a fresh perspective. First of all, is it what you want to do? Secondly, if you decide, yeah, this is me, I want to do this, I'm fulfilled doing this, then be grateful for where you are. First of all, if you are a full-time entrepreneur already, good job. You went through a lot of crap already just to get to where you are. And a lot of people will never do what you did. They will think about it. They'll dream about it. They'll wish for it. They're never going to do it, right? You made the decision to do it, and you did it, and you are here in entrepreneurial land, right? Secondly, think about all the things you have going for you. Maybe you're not selling a bazillion products a day, but maybe you're selling a couple. All right, cool. Remember the time when you were selling 0? I remember that. When you look at the dashboard and you're like, oh, 0 again. Think about how you can be grateful for just selling a few things a day. And do this consistently. Even if you do log in one day and it's 0 again, just be like, well, yesterday I made some sales. This week was okay. Last week was pretty good. Last month was pretty good. And start to shift your perspective instead of just like day by day or week to week. Look at months, look at quarters, look at the year. Where were you a year ago compared to where you are now? That oftentimes can really put things into perspective for you. For example, sometimes I look at things too closely too, and I say, oh man, I'm seeing a lot of this, right? But when I backtrack it, kind of like looking at a stock, you're, look at the stock market, and it almost looks like the stock's really not moving, but then you back out to like 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you look at the chart and you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's going up, right? But if you look too closely, it's like, oh, it doesn't really feel like things are improving. It's not really changing. I'm not really making any progress. But if you look at a year ago, where were you? You know what I mean? What were you doing? Are you doing better now? Probably most people are doing better now. If you're still a full-time entrepreneur or you're on the path to being one, you're probably doing better now, or you wouldn't even be watching this video. Because the people that are constantly doing better, that are improving, that are striving for more, they seek out information like this. So kudos to you for watching. Leave a like if you're getting value out of this, by the way. And, you're already ahead of the game. Like I said, if you're already an entrepreneur, you're ahead of so many people that will be on their deathbed and be like, hey, I really should have quit my job. This was pointless. You know what I mean? You are already beyond that mentality. So good job. And that's really what I had for you. So if you missed the beginning, I encourage you to go back and watch this from the beginning, because I gave a lot of insight and value from my 5.5 years so far of being a full-time entrepreneur. I've never had to go back to a day job, by the way, full-time consistently. And, if you have any questions, if you're watching the replay, pop them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer you. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.